What it do, my dudes? Ninja tips here. I gathered a bunch of clips in an effort to demonstrate a safe way to engage when items are in the way, and we get that left side disadvantage no matter what. And they all have some similar things in common for the victory outcome, but the main one is firing and pulling away into a direction away from the target, typically 5 or 7 o'clock. That's southwestern or southeastern direction, respectively, looking down at the joysticks. We're talking simple 2 steps in the standing or a single bounce without fail, and these may be combined. Keep that in mind. I like to think of this shooting mindset as me being the Matador and the opponent the bull, or sort of like in street ball when luring forward momentum towards oneself, then doing a behind the back crossover, which will slow the defender a bit to get by him or her. No back A's or up A's. This is an alternative option and countermeasure against up A's actually. Approaching corners is really a difficult part of the game because there's so many hiding spots to hide in, and one can make a mistake choosing one spot over the other blind spot. The options for approaching them gets even more limited the longer one takes to choose and finally execute the engagement. An opposing target can choose to up A or back A, of course. But if we have the upper hand on traffic control, then the 5 or 7 should be an automatic due to incoming momentum our way, and the up A is limited in range. Its deadly wedge of fire has a reach no bigger than 1 quadrant of a square split in 4. We're talking a whole 90 degrees here. They would have to cancel out of an up A or back A bounce to widen that 90-degree limitation and get a better aim shot. If they have control of traffic, meaning we absolutely need to get by them to get to the objective or gain map control by crossfire support domination, then 5 to 7 cannot aid us here. They would have the 5 to 7, and we would have to 45-45 wild bounce shoot or roadie run shoot at them, because bog walking in with a hard aim means that we're going to be back 8 softened up or overhead first shotted, and it's definitely not a cool way to start the battle right off the bat. You kidding me? It's really the foot position that I'm talking about here. Analog clock reference to the direction where it is the safest to move out of anyone's quadrant of shoddy fire to follow through with the 1-2. Tactical retreat as soon as the third guy showed because it bought time to soften him up. Lots of kinetic energy my way, so I toroed it up with the 5 o'clock step dodge. I went 7 o'clock for the 360 turn since I was spinning right. Would have been 5 o'clock 360 spin shot if I was going left. Bout walking in combination with death sphere docking, right hemisphere placement, and fitting the shot in between the necks was a key to having not to do more than what that one guy expected. And I'm not talking right hemisphere all the way to the right. I'm talking about like almost right in the middle, inwards, the left side of the right hemisphere. Port to main fails happen, I know, but the most important thing for me is try not to let the friendlies go to spawn and decrease the firepower on the field in that area for even 15 seconds. What I see myself doing and explaining here is a setup for the X slash, which I'm getting ready to show on a future video, for just a short section where the move is simply a combination of a 5 o'clock shot and a 7 o'clock shot, creating a tiny X in the middle of the screen where the target would be at. Shooting passive aggressively, meaning moving towards one home where the friendlies are, not gifting the kinetic energy inward where the opponent's backup lies, behind enemy lines. Now I'm going to get a little bit off tangent now, but all these tactical advances in combat mindset information talk that works for me doesn't just pertain to Gears 5. Anyone can apply the same on any Gears game, any title update, honestly, because it's the strategies I'm speaking of here, because sensitivity or controller versus keyboard usage is mainly about comfort, the type that one equips themselves with in order to diminish the amount of errors that happens on inputs. Don't get me started on hardware advantages. We'll get there at the end of the year, right? It's about smart approach, not running in somewhere like a headless chicken, because the simplest thing one can do for one's team on this game is winning a 1v1. And if that doesn't sound simple, then working on consistency should be the first step towards improving as a player, because 2v1s get more complex as the dynamics widen. Back to the whole 5 to 7 screen correcting, as objects either weave around or simply bot walk inward. Switching it up and combining that left to right footwork and really opening room for the wall bounce link combination option while keeping the enemy guessing when one starts to move the camera erratically with the same movement. The simplest erratic move being the juke shot, which I talked about in the last video, kind of trying to release these all in somewhat of an order. Next techniques that fit for the next vids, actually just after this one, are similar ones that, as far as not giving in the momentum, and that's going for support to main, talked about it before, for fast weapon swap outs. These maneuvers make us use the 5 to 7, however, Using this move leaves us at a vulnerable state. If the opponent got a 100% counter shot, or our guess was too much or wrong, we end up looking down somewhat or doing a 180 to 360 spin anywhere not on our target, and the easiest way out of that situation without completely taking in full damage from the guy's next shot at us has to be either the dodge shot or curve shot, going for counters overall. Up A's and back A's are the shortcuts that appear and the queue becomes apparent. You'll see when I upload that one as well, then it's coming weeks. Stay safe and stay up.